Let's have an honest conversation, shall we? let's talk about the future for a minute. You see, first off, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she was asking me if I was keeping up with my videos, to which I answered, of course, because they're important. And she was just telling me, oh, about hi, Vanessa. And she was telling me that she found it difficult to make the time. And then explaining it to her, it like ignited something in me. Like, Asia and I are gonna have kids. Like, not counting Kari. I mean, Kari's a grown man. I don't really count that anymore. But we're gonna have kids, and then one day we're gonna have grandkids. And I want those grandchildren to be able to log on to YouTube or whatever the platform will be at that point and say, "Hey, that's my grandpa," and they can see the types of struggles that their grandparents went through. See, it's for me, it allows me insight into my own past to kind of know where I was and what I was thinking. And that's why I do it. But the added bonus is that it also serves as a living time capsule for anybody who wants to keep up with my life. So, whether that be my future children, or grandchildren, or great grandchildren, or whatever stranger stumbles upon my first video and says, "Hey, I'd like to follow that guy's life." And then one day they'll get to the end of the videos and they'll go, "Oh, what happened?" And that'll be it. That'll be the end. And they will have lived my life with me. And in that case, I'm immortal. Mm. But I want to talk about the future with you because if you watched enough of these, then you know there's a new company coming into my building. I'm still currently with Intercon. You can see the Intercon logo there. I dig my badge. And when I took this job, they tricked me into going into a building I didn't want. I'll show you my badge for funsies. This will also be my thumbnail. Can you see that? You see? Oh, nope. I want to make sure you see the button. That's my Noble Tiger button. So this is my badge. And they tricked me into going here. I didn't want to go to the franchise tax board building. I really didn't. I was working in a museum downtown doing security, and it was pretty cool. But they told me I needed a badge, so I went on ahead and I went and got the badge, and they were like, "Oh, look, you qualified. Now you're an FTB," and I got stuck. And I didn't want to be there. I even remember being in the building and thinking to myself, they look like they work way too hard. Not interested. But then I got in there and I got settled, and it's really not so bad. Well, now there's a new company coming over, and it's taken them a long time, and they're horribly unorganized. And it was supposed to have happened in May, and then they pushed it up to June, and then they pushed it up to July, and now here it is, it's July. And you can see them coming in and out of the building now, which is fine. And initially, I had taken a drug test for it, and it came back inconclusive. So they wanted me to take another one, and my captain came to me and he was like, "Here's where you need to go." And I had kind of made up in my mind that I didn't necessarily want to do anything with this company. You know, like they were unorganized. They didn't really seem to know what they wanted to do. It was just a clusterfuck. Like, it's always been a clusterfuck. But one of the supervisors today at work showed me the schedule. My name's on it. It's right there, plain as day. They're expecting me, you know? And whether it's $22 an hour, which is not anymore, it was $22 an hour, but the building insisted that they offer some sort of insurance, so they dropped it to 17. So it's still more than I make now, but less than the 22. And it's like all I gotta do is show up Monday and it's there, man. Like, what what kind of person who says they want to start a family with somebody and have been having the money problems that we have been having would say to themselves, who needs 17 bucks an hour? But there's so much to it. It's not just that, like, they've got all these plans where they're unorganized. It's to the point that they don't want to pay overtime. They're a smaller company like Intercom. Mm. Intercon is global. They're barely national. The name of the company is national, but they're not really, and they don't have the best performance ratings online. If you look them up, like, all their clients complain about them. So it's like, I really don't want to do business with you. And then there's the matter of, if I do, I'm starting over day one with a new company. I'd be foregoing all my vacation time. Like, I'm a couple of months away from earning my 2 week vacation. Like, I want that. Like, why would I pass that up? So I don't want to lose that vacation time. So there are a lot of factors to consider before I just move in. And then because they don't want to do overtime, it's like as soon as somebody calls off, they're going to have to do overtime. And I think FTB is going to be too much for them because it's a very professional building, and this company's not going to know what they're doing, and they're going to want Intercom back. And even if they don't, like even if that's not the case, and they don't want Intercom back, and they end up going with somebody else, I'm not interested. It's like I don't want to be bothered. Like everybody's supposed to start Monday, and nobody's gotten a uniform yet. Like really, that's that's odd. So I'm really leaning towards just not going back. Now, what that means for me is that Intercom's going to lose Intercom's going to lose some people, but not a lot. But the people who don't go over to national will find it difficult to find full time positions after the fact because there are going to be people dropping and they just don't have full time sites everywhere. So you kind of got to get in where you fit in. So this means I'll be a floater. And float means I just go where you send me, where the wind takes you, where the day takes you. What a nice reference. What a throwback to that. Where the day takes you. But sometimes I might only get 2 or 3 days. Sometimes I might not get any work in a week. Sometimes I might get a full schedule, and it might not be a schedule that I'm really happy with. I can always turn down a shift. They say, hey, you want to do this? And they say, oh, it's from 10 to midnight. I can say no. So it's not like I have to take it because I would prefer mornings. I would prefer Monday through Friday, and floating would allow me to take the ones I don't, take the ones I want, and discard the ones I don't. But it's a pay cut, and we're talking now the convenience of my job is right up the street. I catch the train. It's one stop away. You know what I'm saying? But if we're planning on moving, that's not a factor. So I don't want to factor that in. There are a lot of things that I need to consider, and the more I talk about it, the more I feel like I just don't want to do it. I don't want to give up where I am within my company where I'm close to my vacation, where I've been here for a while and I'm comfortable and the people know me and I have a rapport and like the main office is cool. My wife also works for Intercon and that's something that I want to keep in mind. So there are factors to consider. So ultimately, while I'm sitting here having this debate with you, I've kind of already made up in my mind that I'm going to take the hit. I'm just going to go ahead and be a floater. I'm just going to not go back. Also, I kind of decided that I'm just going to call off tomorrow. Whatever. Whatever. My wife got things she want to do. I have things I want to do. I need to be setting up for our weekend. We got to go get new phones. Mine is cracked. Asia's is broken. There are household stuff that I need to go pick up. I need to have that day off to prepare. Also, I got to get the Olam. I need to get down to my wife's job and give her her new phone so that we can stay in contact with each other. There are just a lot of things to consider. And I'm really like, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just gonna take the day off and I'm just not gonna go to the new company. Now what that means is come Monday morning they'll probably call and say, hey, where are you? And oh, that's gonna hurt me. Which is why if I'm not gonna take the job, then I need to, at the very least, send Intercon a message and say, I've chosen to stay with Intercon, which they'll be okay with. They can't guarantee me hours, but they'll be okay with that. Absolutely. And National might be a little disappointed, but I just, I can't imagine giving up my vacation time. I can't imagine starting over. Like, I've had a lot of medical problems this month. My videos have suffered because of it. Like, it went from my blood pressure to it was too high, and then the blood pressure the medicine they were giving me was affecting my kidneys, and that was messing with me. It's like there are a lot of things to consider, and I'd have to go get all new doctors. I would have to start over with a new company with zero vacation time. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I'm probably not going with National. I should probably discuss that with my wife before I make a decision, but my wife is accustomed to following my orders, so I probably won't. I feel like my wife works hard, and regardless to how much I work, or as little as I work, or as much as I work, she's going to do the exact same amount of hours every single time. Like, there's just no getting around it. Like, next Thursday is the 4th, and she'll be working overtime. So she'll get a full 8 hours of overtime, but still get off a full 2.5 hours earlier than she normally would. That's a super mega win, you know. So her employment is still steady, and this is a good opportunity for me to, while I'm still dealing with my medications and figuring out where I want to be and like what they want to do to make sure my insides stay in my insides, that I'm only working 2 or 3 days a week, which means I'm dropping to part time, which means it's a real cut in our money, which means things will slow down, but it's like not for very long, and it's like if we can survive off of what she makes, we can start putting money away. We can start, we got to pay off her school debt so she can get back into class in time for fall, or at the very least spring of next year, or winter of next year, or January of 2020. So I don't feel like this will be much of a hit, but it's gonna be difficult, and I really think that's just the way I need to go. I think it's best for all involved. It's just, man, I'm coming to the realization that there's my old man back there, that my parents had no idea what they were doing, because being an adult does not come with an instruction manual. You have no idea. And somehow I managed through 22 and a half years of raising Kari. And now he a grown man on the way to his own career. And he's far beyond anything I was in my 20s or even my 30s. So the only thing he lacks now is experience. Like, I feel like he needs to stumble and fall once or twice to get the gist of here's how I stay up. But Kari is good. Kari's in a good place, and no father could be prouder. Like, seriously. And I say that with all due respect, because the old man, I would hope that he was proud of me, but no father is prouder of his son than I am of mine. It's just, this was supposed to be easier. You look at it as a kid, and it's just like, wow, being an adult looks so easy. You can do what you want to do, and that's just not what it is at all. Like, I find myself ill prepared to be an adult, but here I am. I've been an adult for a long time. In fact, I really don't feel like I was an adult until I got to California. I don't feel like I was an adult until I moved into this apartment, because until then I had roommates, and before that I was homeless. Before that I was living with people. Before that I was living with my parents. Before that I was living with my manager at Wendy's. Before that I was living with my mama. There was always somebody who was more responsible for things than I was. But now it's like, this is it. This What we do is what we do. This is all of it, and it's up to me. It's up to Asia. It's up to us. We have to do it. So I'm doing it. But man, I wish it had come with an instruction book. I wish there were there should have been a way to navigate life, and don't say, oh, go to school, because that's what parents are supposed to tell you. And my faith in the educational system, not there. Like, when we have kids, we're going to homeschool, because I have zero faith in public education. Like, I have no intention of training my child to be a drone like everybody else. Learn this, memorize this, copy this, paste that, do this, be this. I want my children to be who they are, you know? So the only real instruction I can give you for being an adult is to be you, unapologetically. Like, I got into it last night. with a friend of mine. I've not necessarily gotten to it. I've been sick. I made a post on Facebook thanking people for trying to look out for me and saying, hey, for the older friends, I'd like to reconnect. And one of them was like, oh, thank you, Jesus, for doing this. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Nope, don't. That's just not my thing. And my sister sent me a message and she was like, why would you be mean like that? Why would you do that? She meant well when she said the Lord is keeping you, but the Lord don't keep me. I'm not kept. And for me to give credit to a God for helping me get better as my kidneys were failing is like me saying, hey, Jesus, thanks for making my kidneys fail and then helping me out. I wasn't interested. And I expressed that. And my sister was just like, well, why would you do that? She meant well. You know what she meant. Why wouldn't you just let it go? Why don't you just respect her beliefs? And to respect her beliefs by overlooking mine don't sit well with me. Does not work for me. Cannot do it, will not do it. If she get like, and to her credit, the friend who did that is one of my best friends, and I say he one of my best friends, and I haven't even talked to him in a couple of years, but he was a cool dude. His wife, they recently had a baby. She was like, hey, I understand you're an atheist. Understand that I do believe in God, and that's gonna be kind of part of my vernacular. But let's not do any extra, and let's just go from there. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. That's all I want to do. It's like I'm not trying to push what I believe on you, but I'm not gonna sit back and make it seem like I'm okay with you saying, oh, praise Jesus every time I tell you something good going on in my life, because my life has been turmoil and we have worked it out without the use of prayer, without the use of somebody going, oh, I hope Jesus makes it better. Me and my wife make it better. And I think we're good there. But the point is, you have to be unapologetically you. Don't respect other people's opinions and feelings at the expense of your own. You know, I will not compromise. I will not sacrifice. I will not overlook. I will not let bygones be bygones. Like, we can agree to disagree. And as long as you don't say, oh, Jesus did this for you. Now, if we were having a conversation and she was like, this is what Jesus did for me, cool you. None of my business. But when you say he's done something for me, that's a problem. And I will not be silent because silent is agreeing. Silent if I was accused of something and instead of saying no, I'm innocent and I just remain silent, one could imply my guilt. I said that to say, like, if she go, oh, look at what Jesus has done for you in your life. I'm so happy for you. Don't it? And if I just don't say anything or I respond like, oh yeah, thanks, that's kind of me saying, yeah, Jesus did these things for me. And he didn't. He didn't. I did these things for me. Whether they are positive or negative. I'm not like, oh, when something bad happens, it's the devil. Bullshit. It's just life. Things happen, and how you deal with them is what's important. So I appreciated her answer and it made me respect her more, honestly. But I'm unapologetically me. I do things in my own way, on my own terms, in my own time. That's always been my mantra. That's always been the way I've done things. And sometimes I need to be reminded of that. And what's funny is that I really felt like these were kind of two separate videos. I kind of wanted to address that thing on Facebook with my friend and Jesus keeping me thing in another video, and then just let this be about work. But as I was talking, I can see how the two mesh together because I can't say that I do things in my own way, on my own terms, and in my own time if I'm constantly going, well, I do things in my own way, but I respect that you do it differently, and that's fine with me. Thanks for saying that your way is the best way. It's not. It's not. To for my friend to say what she said and then I not respond the way I responded, then I really wouldn't be doing things on in my own way. I wouldn't be doing things on my own terms. If I didn't respond as quickly, I wouldn't have been doing it in my own time. It had to be the way it was. It had to be the way I did it, and it had to be done because that's what I live by. You could call me a lot of things. Hypocrite will never be one of them. Never. If I say it, I mean it. My word is my bond, and I keep my promises. I hold true to my convictions, and I do not believe what you believe. So, for you to say what you said, I had to say what I said. But that notwithstanding, let's push that under the rug for a minute. That's not what this is about. I'm talking about my future, and I don't want to walk into a company where I will lose the status that I have, where I drop my vacation, where I'm day one with somebody else, where I'm now in a building and now I feel, oh, it's close to home, so I should kind of feel like I should be here. I don't want that to be a factor because I want to move. And if I stay in this company and I'm making the money that they say they're going to make, and that's assuming that everything goes smoothly, because I can guarantee you it fucking won't. Nothing will go smoothly in that building for months, and a lot of people will drop off, and I don't want that kind of insecurity, you know? So I'd rather stick with the devil I know. So for me to say I do things in my own way, on my own terms, and in my own time means I can't go with national. I can't. I just, wow. I literally, I just can't. Like, I need to go ahead and drop down to part time for a second to give my body the time it takes to get better, so I'm not overexerting myself by trying to do 40, 50 hours a week right out the bat again. I need that time to adjust myself, and then maybe I'll find a permanent spot that I like more. Maybe I won't. Maybe ultimately I'll have to go and do something else, but that needs to be a bridge I cross when I get there, not because a new company is coming in and my hand has been forced. You know, it's like if I did that, it wouldn't be in my own time, and it needs to be in my own time, you know? That being the case, that also means that I'm not going to work tomorrow, and I am going to be unapologetic about it, and I'm not going to feel badly when it's time for me to call dispatch and say, hey, I won't make it in tomorrow for medical reasons. Like, you'll just have to suck it up and deal with it, you know? So, yeah, that's where I stand. This is why I do these videos, Vanessa. If you're still here and you're still with me, this is why I do them. Because it's a process. It helps me get things off my chest and out of my head and here for people to see. And a year from now, I might watch this video and go, what the fuck were you thinking? Or I might watch this in a year from now and go, yeah, you made the right call. You might not necessarily have, like, 2020 vision to the future. I can't predict what's going to happen, but I can guarantee you that 1 year from now, I'll be thinking differently, but everything in my life will be based off of what I have done in this moment. And right now, in this moment, at this time, I feel like this is the best thing to do. I know my wife well enough to know that she will support that choice because I feel like this is the right thing to do. And with that said, I'm going to wrap this up because I now feel better about my choices. I now feel better about my decisions, and I'm ready to get it done.